Hey, what's up, y'all, man? This is John L. Porter, and this is Ben Newsom. We have our special guest, Pastor Adrian Sledge, and this is Yeah Man. Today, man, we're gonna talk about this this picture. Let me get closer to it. But basically, this is a picture that was posted on Pastor Sledge Facebook page, and we're just going to kind of talk about it. Pastor Sledge, do you want to kind of explain how it got on your Facebook page?
So I made a post about something about as far as people using their Christianity or whatever to force people to vote, whether Republican or Democrat.
No, I think it was the one. It was like the one. I think you was talking about like you didn't want to talk about politics, but you want to talk about like professional wrestling.
Oh, okay. Now I remember. Yeah, basically what it was, I was thinking Mike Jones was trying to get away from talking about politics. And my point in my post, I remember my post was because I believe politics are a lot like professional wrestling. And what I mean is that I remember when I was a kid, and my mother took me and my brother to see our first wrestling match, right? And I remember that all week, you're going to have a promo, and they talk about how they're going to whoop each other and fight each other. So we went to the match. Man, they was in there. They whooped each other all over the arena. We excited. We excited to shout. We were about maybe 10, 11 years old. My mom takes us out to dinner. And these same two dudes who have been beating for weeks, jumping each other, hitting each other with chairs, fighting that night, was eating dinner together, laughing and joking. And I think, so I equated that to the politics because what it is, I believe these Republicans, Democrats, I believe politics sometimes is scripted in a way that creates division amongst the audience. So after it's all said and done, regardless who we vote for, and how much we be mad at each other and how we go at each other's throats, Biden and Trump are probably going to be eating dinner after it all is said and done.
Right.
And that's how I started getting the responses. It became something we were just talking about wrestling, something I was thinking light or something, and all of a sudden it just turned to something totally different.
Right.
And the post, the picture was, I think it was a picture of some black individuals pulling a wagon, and went to the Democratic Party. Now, let me be clear. Because that person who posted their Facebook profile wasn't shown, many people thought this was a white person that posted this picture. That was a African-American male who posted that picture. Not a white person. That was a black person that posted that picture.
All right. So what do you think of the picture, man? Like,
so I look at the picture, Pastor. I looked at the picture. First time I looked at it, I didn't notice. I saw it says GOP hates black people, right? And I see the two black males pulling the wagon. But when I look at it even further, which is today, I'm not gonna lie, I just looked at it again. I noticed that it was actually the donkeys that were leading the individuals pulling the wagon. So I'm like, so you're basically saying that we're no better than, excuse language, no better than jackasses to pull wagons for the, I guess, Democratic Party or Republican Party or whatever it's saying. It's like
the donkeys are kind of like the Democratic symbol.
Okay, so the donkeys are the Democratic symbol. They're saying that we're no better. We're only good enough to pull the wagon, and they're saying that GOP hates black people. I was like, I just don't understand why people go so far as to put pictures up like this, and then on top of that, the person that posted it to be a black male, a black individual, he doesn't seem to understand. He's not doing anything but hurting us even further. And even if he doesn't, if it's not hurting him individually, it's still people get so outraged about this, that, and the other. And I try to tell everybody, say, I don't necessarily support the Black Lives Matter movement by going out to protest and all that. I just live, and that's enough. Living is enough. I don't have time to go to protest and do all this other extracurricular activity that people got going on. Living is enough, because being a black male and being 33, I probably don't live past life expectancy that I'm supposed to be. So, personally, just from a personal standpoint, I don't feel like there's much else I can do. There's not much else I can do besides vote, and that's it.
I think there's a couple of things we can do.
Okay.
So yeah, I agree with some protesting and prayer-thons, prayer vigils, and whatever you want to have, reconciliation services. I believe in that. But I think what we must do is, I think we're, as black people, what we're disadvantaged at, is that we don't educate ourselves and others about the political process.
Right.
This is what I mean, educating people about the political process. One of the things that I think a lot of black people get in trouble is that they only focus on the presidential election, when there are actual local elections that affect us even more.
Right.
When you talk about police brutality, that has nothing to do with the president. It has to do with your mayor and your town council. That most of us don't even go to those elections. A whole bunch of us will show up this November. But what's going to happen in 2021 when you got your local elections going on, 2022? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And we have to get out of this we only vote every 4-year mindset. Because we got to start educating them on what offices affect certain things. Like, for example, the mayor and the town council affect police. Your school board elections, those affect what goes on and how much money goes into the school. You see what I'm saying? Like, even when the president started yelling out that he was going to cut funding for schools if they didn't go back. But what people got to learn is the only funding that he can even can touch is free lunch and special aid. But funding for schools comes from the county, which is a county government. You see what I'm saying? So we have not only need to be protesters, not only we need to vote in the presidential election, but I think what will help is we have to start taking the time to educate people of color the entire political election process, from the smallest town councilman or mayor to the governor, all the way to the president. And I think once we start, and then also not only learn about this process, we need to start purposely running for those offices and supporting black people when they do run for them.
Let me ask you a question. How do you get more informed with who's running for local office? Because I know, like, cause my dad, when I got 18, he looked at me like, here's your voter registration. And I was just like, okay. He said, no, man, you gonna fill this out. So I always try to vote for local, but like, what happens to me is I don't know what they stand for. And another thing, how do you find out more about that? You know, what they actually stand for? You can read up on it. And then second, I did have a gentleman that I didn't go to school with him. I used to work with him when we was teenagers, named Tyrone Darton, and he did run for office. And we tried to put a sign out, and we voted for him. But how can somebody who wants to be a local politician, what do you think is the best way for them to advertise and actually win when they might not have as much funds as someone who is like a professional? I don't want to say, I guess a professional or a consistent politician, like that's like a lifetime politician. How do they beat someone that probably has the funding? They're a lifelong politician, That's what they do. They're a professional politician. How do somebody like me or Ben or someone that want to make a change overthrow somebody that may be a little bit crooked? Locally.
That's good. That's a good question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I have, I live in a small town, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of your small towns, your town governments, right? They're what is called nonpartisan positions. What a nonpartisan position is that they do not have to declare their party when they run for that particular office.
Yeah.
So it's hard to gauge who you're voting for Republicans and Democrats in the local elections, because some of them will have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things is about these offices, because they're local offices, one thing I love about the local government, your local politicians are easier to get meetings with and set up meetings with than you can with your senators and your you're not going to probably get meet with the president.
Right.
So a lot of it is picking up a phone, calling them, scheduling meetings, and having one-on-one dialogue and finding out who they are. One of the things, well, I guess when you were 18, we were 18, there was one thing we didn't have when we were 18.
Right.
We didn't have Google. We didn't have Google.
Right.
We didn't have internet like that.
Right.
So now, there's no excuse. You can pull up a politician. Matter of fact, now you can go online and look up a certain senator and see everything that they voted for in Congress and voted against. But to run for an office, one, you have to go to your registered office, your county or your town, your city registered office, and then tell them that you want to run for a particular office. Now, when it comes to funding in the local thing, you may not need as much funding as you do in the bigger office. So what I recommend for a lot of anybody who want to run for an office, before you make a run, maybe for a year or two, you need to be engaged with the community already. Because one thing is about black people, when we don't see you, we're not going to trust you.
Okay.
So, like, for example, I've considered making a run for town council here in Colbert.
Okay.
But I've been living in Colbert for going on 9 years.
Okay.
But I've done community events. Matter of fact, last Saturday with my ministry, we just did a cereal giveaway. We blessed over 100 families with 2 boxes of cereal and milk.
Cool.
So when it's time for me to start running for an office, if I decide to do that, I'm already out there in the community. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so the reality is you just can't wake up one day and say, I'm going to run for an office. But and then you want to make sure you got people who's going to have your back, who's going to support you. Because I think if more black people start running for offices, even if we don't win, it sends a strong message that we are aware of that. You can't lie to us anymore. You can't pull the wool. We're engaged. And that's what both parties are hoping on, the Republican and Democratic Party. They hope that we're not engaged.
Right. So which one do you feel, because I was always raised, that the black party is the Democratic Party. So like, for example, like, I'll be honest with you, I only voted for like one Republican dude my whole life, and it was a guy that I actually met, I think it was Jason Pullman, and he was running for a judge in San Antonio. And I had actually met him at a network meeting, business network meeting. And because it was just so drug into me that if you're black, you vote Republican. If you're black, you vote Democrat. And so I was just like, okay. And do you feel like the Democratic Party is more geared to the black community, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think where that mindset comes from is because the reality is that when the civil rights bills were passed, it was under Lyndon Johnson, who happened to be a Democrat.
Okay.
And I think that's where we transition. Because you got to remember, if you go back into the 1800s and during slavery, it was the Republican Party that was pushing to abolish slavery, and the Democratic Party was trying to hang on to slavery.
Okay.
And it was the Democratic Party that kind of pushed these Jim Crow laws or whatever But what happened is when Lyndon Johnson, John F. Kennedy Johnson came and signed those finally signed those civil rights bills, you're seeing what black people turn and say, well, you got to vote Democrat. So the reality is that neither one of the parties, they do what they do. I think what has happened is the Democratic Party has taken black people for granted.
Okay.
I think the Republican Party, they want to go back to how their party was the key party with Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, freed the slaves. They want to always go back to the past, but the reality is that both parties have failed black people.
Yeah.
And have not done enough. But we also need, as black people, we need to get out of the straight party ticket type of voting and actually see, because you got some Democrats that are very conservative, and you have some Republicans that are very liberal in certain areas. So we have to start looking at the individuals who are running for office and not a party. So, for example, if you are a diehard Republican, you may need to reconsider whether you're going to vote for this Republican president. So that's another thing. We don't have to vote on straight tickets.
Right.
We do not have to do it.
Okay.
I've always been that way. I always want to look at the person in particular. I don't really care about the party, but what's the person about and which one, and I say this, well, I say it because I believe it. Which one's not as full of shit? Because they're always going to say something that they can't necessarily particularly fix right away. And they say, oh, I'm going to fix this or I'm going to fix that. And it's like, okay, you say you're going to do that, but what are you really going to do? And then when they get in the office, they don't even address, some won't address it at all. Some will address whatever issues they said they're going to address. So that's why I just don't particularly care for politicians in general, because, I mean, they're going to say what you want to hear. And they're going to try to woo the crowd and everything like that and do all this other extra stuff. But it's like, what can you actually in reality do while you're in this position of power? And while you're in a position of power, are you actually going to do what you say you're going to do, or are you going to be out playing golf like Trump out there in Florida when we got all this other stuff going on?
Yeah. And I agree. But like I said, I think once we educate ourselves on what governments and what politicians can actually do, and a lot of them are pending of us being ignorant of who does what.
Right.
And like, for example, in Colbert, we have two forms of government. We have a town government and we have a county government. Okay.
Okay.
So right now we have a Confederate statue in the middle of our town, right?
Okay.
So people are going to our town council with the issue of this Confederate statue. But here's the problem: the statue is on the county courthouse. It belongs to the county. So what happens is the county is more than willing to let the town take the brunt of these complaints while they hide in the background, because people don't understand whose responsibility is it.
It's the
That's
county.
where we have to educate ourselves in our small cities. Whose responsibility does this belong to?
So it's
And
not.
you can't always get to the president. You see what I'm saying? You have some mayors, you have local politicians who are hiding behind the president when they can actually make decisions right there in their own city.
Right.
Because as long as we're focusing on the White House, we're not focusing on that. We're not focusing on that Bexar County. We're not focusing in the city of San Antonio or Live Oak. And like I said, those other local elections, like especially in San Antonio, like Live Oak, Converse, Kirby, all those little small towns, they have their own little local government.
Well, and it's because, I mean, it's not like the president can actually go to every little town in every state and say, okay, let's fix this and fix that. So you have to go to your
Right.
local governments.
That's right. So if you want your streets to be fixed, that's not the president. That's local government. If you want your schools to be better, that's not the president or Senate. That's your school board and your local school boards and different things like that. And when you look at a lot of these school boards and city councils and town councils, a lot of them don't have a lot of diversity on them.
Right.
A lot of them do not have a lot of diversity. Because basically what you have is you will have a group of people, a group of race of people sitting in positions, making decisions for black people. They don't even know what we're really thinking or what we're going through.
Not asking neither.
And not even that. But then we don't demand better from them because we're waiting on the big election. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. What was the last one now?
Is there like a website or some type of internet access where they can find out about senators, mayors, local council people?
Yeah, you can go on your city or your county websites. Go on Google. I love Google. You know, like I love Google.
I love Google.
So I can go in like town of Coleman, and government site will come up. It'll say Google on my town council. It'll have their email addresses and then have their telephone. And you can email these people. You can call your local government. A lot of people don't know that. These people are not untouchable or unreachable.
Right.
It's just you got to make the decision to reach out to them. And then also what I found out is like I said, I don't have a problem with protests, but I've been able to get a lot of things done in my area, in my community, just by having one-on-one conversation with our town leaders. Having coffee with them, sit down having coffee with them. I don't know if y'all remember the news when they had that big thing in Charlottesville. They had that white supremacist rally in Charlottesville and they got violent.
There's quite a few persons that got violent, but that's probably one of them.
I guess it's
about 3 years ago. So Charlottesville is only about 40 miles from here.
Right.
And what we did was so to make sure that those white supremacists not come to call them with that foolishness. Me, another black pastor, and a white pastor, we met with our mayor. We told our mayor straight up, we do not want them in our town. And he agreed to do whatever he could in his power not to give these people a permit so they can come here and bring that foolishness to our town. So it was as simple as calling the mayor and they could be able to be here.
So let me ask this. So how many people are in Culpeper?
So in the county of Culpeper, it's like 65,000.
Okay.
We have 18,000 in town.
Okay.
Now, a city like San Antonio, would it require in San Antonio, I think it was about 5 million people there? 6 million?
Yeah, something like that.
Is that many people?
Yeah.
There's quite a few people here at the same time.
What is required is your pastoral leadership, because there's a lot of pastoral leadership in San Antonio. Because the church is about everywhere in San Antonio.
Right.
And not only you got a bunch of churches in San Antonio, you got pastors there that have a lot of influence. So it has to start there with some of the black leaders, black leaders in the community, reaching out to these people and giving people a platform and educating. The church has to start really educating these young people, their churches on this election process. Telling people, it's one thing to tell people to go vote, but it's a whole other thing to teach them how this process works. How long? We have to go back to, you remember when we were kids, the commercial, the Schoolhouse Rock, I'm Just a Bill, and they educated on how a bill was passed.
Yeah, I'm just a bill.
Yeah, man.
Turn to a law.
Yeah, we got to go back to that and educate the black people. This is how the law works. This is how politics works. This is how we have to start letting each other know that.
I had a question for you. What do you feel about Black Lives Matter? I'm gonna be honest with you. I really liked how the NFL, because I was eating dinner. Well, I was watching the football game with a friend of mine, and it was watching it with my friend Jerry, he's a sweet white guy. Watching it with Felix, he's Hispanic, and they had another friend, he was a white guy. And so they're good friends of mine. And we was watching the game, and I seen on the NFL, I guess what their slogan, it takes all of us.
Yeah,
I kind of like
Pat
that.
Mahomes got that started up.
I kind of like that because I really feel it takes all of us. What do you feel about Black Lives Matter? What do you feel about the organization, and how do you feel about the NFL take of it takes all of us?
So, this is how I feel about Black Lives Matter. I believe what we have to understand is the difference between the Black Lives Matter organization and the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm a firm believer in the Black Lives Matter movement. Black Lives should matter.
Right.
The organization, they got some views that I like and I don't like, just like any other organization.
Right.
I think the only reason Black Lives Matter, whether it's an organization or movement, is a problem for America, because America doesn't like to see black people united under no circumstances. Period.
Yeah.
And whether it was the Black Panther Party, whether it was the Nation of Islam, America is afraid when black people start working together on any level.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have more conversations about Black Lives Matter. And I think this country forgot that the KKK still is there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that in everything, there's no system and no organization is perfect. I think, with the unity that the NFL players are showing, the basketball players are showing, using their platforms to bring awareness, I think that's awesome. Some people may not like it, but I think some people may not like it. And I think if it was just white players doing it probably wouldn't be no issue. I'll be honest with you. It probably wouldn't be an issue. But because black players and black athletes have come together, and white people and white athletes have come together to support those things, America's afraid. They're afraid.
Yeah, very afraid.
So would you, if you were, I guess this is another question I have. Do you feel like, as a nation, us being black, white, Hispanic, different races, do you feel that it takes all of us? Because I believe Black Lives Matter, because when you look at me, I'm black. When I go to sleep, I'm black. Everything about me.
When I die, I'm black.
You know what I'm saying? So, what do you? I did like it takes all of us because I really believe that. Now I do believe Black Lives Matter, but how can we get both of them to kind of work together? Because I feel like that's what it's going to take as a nation, is for them to understand what we're saying is Black Lives Matter, or kind of get with it. That Black lives do matter, you know what I mean? And Hispanic lives matter. Every person's life matters. But how do we get it to where the organization or the movement, Black Lives Matter, is connected with it takes all of us? Because I do like that too. I do like that too.
Right. Well, because I think what we got to realize is that as a nation, yes, it takes everyone. But I think you have a group of individuals that don't want to be accountable to what the problems are. They don't want to do it. And I think communication, listening. The problem is everybody wants to give their point of view, whether it's Black Lives Matter, white people, Hispanic, everybody wants to give their point of view, or they want to give their spin of the situation. But nobody wants to listen. Just listen. And I think because one of the reasons, because people have not been listening for so long, let's be honest. When people are not listening to us, that's frustrating. It's very frustrating when nobody's listening.
Right.
And what is happening is now this stuff is starting to flow over. So what I think it does, it takes all of us, black, white, Hispanic, to start listening.
Okay.
Not talking, just listening and trying to get everybody's point of view and where everybody stands. And I think that's the only way we're going to get to a place where we need to be, until people start listening.
You know what? I always say that in our society, people don't know how to listen, they just know how to talk.
Yeah. I used to tell the kids all the time when I worked there, I work in a psych facility and I work with all different races and everything like that. that's besides the point. I work with different mental health statuses too, and I used to tell the kids all the time. I say, there's a difference between listening to me and hearing me. I said, you heard me, but you're not listening to what I just said. Right. You pick and choose what you hear, and then you say, well, y'all talking about y'all got restrained. I said, no. I said, if you don't stop your behavior, you're going to get restrained. All you heard was restraint. That's all you heard. You didn't listen to what I just told you. So I tell them all the time, all right. So I know. I'm not listening. I heard you. I was like, okay. So now you're listening to me. Are you listening? That's what we need the nation to do. That's what we need everybody to do. Start listening. And the same thing is like, be quiet and listen. You can't listen if you're talking. And that's what a lot of people do. They continue to talk, but they don't want to listen. And they're like, see, you're not getting my point. But they don't want to listen. Because they're not quiet enough to listen.
Even when I counsel married people, I always tell people, are you listening or you just waiting on your turn to talk?
Right.
And many of us are just waiting on that. And that's what happens. If I express to you that I believe that there's systematic racism, and your reply is, well, black people got as much rights as white people too, that means you're not listening. You didn't even try to ask me why I felt that way. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But you automatically go on defense. You're not even asking me why I feel a certain way or why I'm angry. You automatically go on defense. And like even to hear in Culpeper, I may say something in Culpeper, people like, and I have to explain to people, listen, I'm from San Antonio. I'm from the inner city. So I know what it looks like. So don't tell me differently. There's a lot of black people in Culpeper, in this little small rural town. Yeah, they have people. They have experienced what a lot of us experience in the city of San Antonio. It's where it comes to racism and cops. And I try to explain them here. I said, one thing about us as black people in the inner city, we don't like cops, period. We don't care if they're white, lesbian, or black. You know, so we don't move.
Right.
But see, when you say black, when you say cops are shooting, or if I say a cop shot another black person, the first thing they say, well, not all white cops are racist. We didn't say anything about white cops being racist. We said there's an issue with the policing from our police departments. We didn't say we had an issue with just white cops.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's all. But see, here's the thing. But that lets me know that's when you know they're not listening. But you're trying to make this about racist white cops, when we're telling you that the whole policing, because not only they shoot black people, when you call 911 when you're in trouble, they don't show up. So that we have an issue with the policing, not just white cops, but the entire process. But if you're not listening, all you hear is, y'all bad at white cops. Oh man, you're not listening.
I can agree with you because we had I do real estate, and so I do a little bit of everything in real estate, but I'm pretty much a landlord, primarily. So we had a duplex in Highland Hills, and Highland Hills is like, to me, it's a coming up area, and it's like it's not a historic area, but one of them areas where, to me, it's always been a nice area, where a lot of people can, I've seen black people, white people, a little bit of everybody in Highland Hills. And when we had to call the police, it would take so long for them to show up. And by the time they come, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of over with, So then you kind of, I know it.
They come afterwards.
Yeah, they come afterwards.
Yeah,
what I mean? So it's just like, and that was in Highland Hills, So if you go to, like the deeper part of the east side, like, if you go, let's say, Nolan, Bluebonnet, Geber, man, it's already dirt and already done. So then we, but if you go down on Heights, Converse, they there. So I think we know, if you live on the east side, the east side of San Antonio, you kind of like know you can't trust them. You can't trust them to be there when you need them. But when you go to the, when I'll never forget. I liked the girl when I was in high school, and so my cousin was taking me over there. And so my cousin Cornell take me over there, and they actually pulled us over for about, man, they pulled us over, man, for about 2 hours. And I believe we was over there by Jones, the Jones barbecue, you know, where they sell the sausages, right?
Right.
What's that street? That's Commerce, right?
Yeah, I think it's Commerce and Walker, man.
No, it ain't Walker. I think it's Commerce and Walker. But anyway, I think it's more by MLK.
Okay.
Yeah. So we was over there, we was, getting ready to go. It was on the other side. I forgot what side. And so really, and before the cell phones and everything. And so they had stopped us for like 2 hours. And they were just like, my cousin, I think he had like a Galant at the time. It was a nice car. And they just stopped us. Cause I feel like they stopped us because they felt like,
why the black person?
yeah,
a nice car?
A nice car, yeah. And then it just stuff like that, man. It's like you really stopped us for two hours and you killed everything that we wanted to do. So that was just, to this day, I don't really feel like they had somebody that stole the gun. I feel like they just wanted to mess with us, and that was what they used to mess with us, to interrogate us, to get a laugh out of it.
That kind of reminds me of one time.
Right. It's true. It's true. It happens, man. Yeah.
I've had it happen one time before. I was in college, and I ain't think about it now, but I went to school in San Angelo. Pastor Sledge, you ever heard of San Angelo, Texas?
What's the name of it?
San Angelo, Texas.
I don't think I heard of it.
It's out going towards El Paso. It's in West Texas.
Okay, yeah, I heard of that.
Okay, well, I went out there to go to school, and one day it was me. And, I hate to say it, but it was me and a bunch of black guys, and it was some white girls driving a truck. And we're sitting in the back of the truck, and it's me, Jeremy, another guy I saw, I think it was Dre or something like that. I didn't really know him that well, but I kind of knew him. And then there's like 3 white girls in the front seat or something like that. And there was some black girls behind us following us in the truck. And we're all going to Whataburger, right?
That's where it all starts.
Yeah, that's where it all goes down, right? So we're all going to Whataburger. And, we're kind of like, we're just being dumb college students. And we're yelling out the back of the truck at the car behind us. Well, the cop pulls us over. He says, why are y'all out the back of a truck? Now, first of all, how do you know we're yelling out the back of a truck? How do you know we're yelling? Like, how do you know what we're doing? But I really think, and I don't want to say it's because there's a bunch of black students in the back of a truck, but it kind of looks like that when you pulled us over. It's a bunch of white girls in the front, and it's like you don't know if what he's asking them. So he's asking us to hide your IDs, and none of us give a problem. And then another cop pulls up. He's like, oh yeah, well, I was kind of bored, so I just kind of pulled up to see what's going on. And everything was fine. He didn't try to arrest any of us or anything like that. I told him I had a ticket to Paint Rock. He's like, you take care of your business? Like, yeah, of course. We didn't give him an issue, but it's like, when I look back at it in hindsight, it's like, would it have been the same if they were Caucasian? That's just, I don't want to take it that far, but it's kind of like, well, damn, why you pull us over in the first place? Like, it's a college town. It's going to be a bunch of students and trucks. There's trucks all over that place. And then you just happen to see a truck with, probably about 4 of us, African Americans in the back seat, and 3 white girls in the front. One was driving, and there's 2 other ones in there. So it just looks suspicious when you pull us over like that. And then the people that were behind us, they stopped too. And I think he went to their car too, and he asked them what was going on because it was 3 black girls in that car. And they left. They turned around and went back to school, and we still went off to Whataburger.
Small town with all stuff.
But it's San Angelo's like a small city. You got all these other small towns like Baird and Ballinger Baird at Ballinger. What's another small town? I can't think of. Crystal City. Great Creek, a bunch of places that would come to this small city, and I'm from a big city, so I never had an issue like that where I've been stopped by a policeman because I'm sitting in the back of a truck and we're being just kids. I mean, basically, we were all in our 20s. We weren't very old, but we weren't necessarily young neither. But it's like, why are you on the back of a truck? Really, dude? Come on now. It's like so. It's like I don't know if I don't know if I'm talking to him being bored or am I talking to him being like I didn't want to come. He wasn't rude to any of us. So I think in that aspect, that one particular encounter, that's why I don't try to what do you say? Generalize it to every policeman or every person out there. I think it's just he was just a bunch of dumb kids. Let me see what they're doing. But
man, when we went to Tech, I love the school, man. Texas Tech was a cool school, man. You had like when they
Rock County.
Yeah, but that was cool too, man. Cause we used to drive because we wasn't 21, so we used to drive out there and they had some gizzards, man. And they was flavored gizzards, man. They changed your whole life, man. Anyway, so we went out, yeah, man.
Get like
they was
flavored gizzards.
Like what?
Get like chicken and gizzards.
Yeah, man.
Flavor what?
What?
Flavor what?
Man, like hot sauce, man, and all that other stuff, man. It was live, man. No, but seriously though, but like I always felt like Tech, the school was cool, and I had a teacher, and she would always come. She always kind of talk to me. I forget her name, but she would always come up to me and she'd say, "Hey, you coming back? You gonna be here in class on Monday, right?" She was a white lady. I want to say it was Gallegos. I know that's a Hispanic name. I don't remember her name. She was a really nice lady. She had a class. I think it was drug and alcohol. Yeah, it was like a psychology class.
Drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, she had a dog in there one day, a police dog in there, and I was kind of nervous. But anyway, so I was telling on myself. So no, but yeah, so but basically what happened to me, it was like Lubbock. It kind of like it was the wrong city to have a university in. Because I love the university, I really did, man. You had, when we beat A&M, they had a streaker. That was cool. It was funny, you know what I mean? They had like Playboy magazine went there, and they said they was in the top 5 of girls in college campus. They had some bad chicks there, but basically it was a good experience. It was a good experience, and so. What happened is I was living in Bledsoe, which is like a dorm there, and Bledsoe was like at the time it was an all boys dorm. And it was hot, didn't have no AC. So we were trying to get up out of there, but a lot of people would get stuck in Bledsoe because they were kind of too late to get in the ones that had AC and everything. And so it was 2 black gentlemen, and they was one from Dallas and one from Houston. So they gave us, they had a piece of paper, and they was trying to, get off dorm, because that's every college person's dream, right? To get somewhere off of campus. So they was gonna rent a house, and so they was both black, and they came back, and someone gave them a sheet of paper, basically saying that black people live over here, white people live over here, and Hispanic people live over there. So I was playing around with him. I said, "Dude, they don't want to rent the yard because I ain't got no money." He said, "No, man, this is what they actually showed us." So I went around Lubbock, and one of my professors had invited to his house. He was white. Hal Steve, he was a cool dude, and everybody in his neighborhood was white. Then I had a friend that worked in the cafeteria, and he was Hispanic, and I used to watch wrestling with him, pay-per-views, and all his neighbor was Hispanic. When I went to get my hair cut on the east side of Lubbock, everybody was black. It wasn't like in San Antonio where, being there over here by Converse, it's everybody. On the east side, It's a little bit of everybody. You can even go to, you can go to like Alamo Heights now. It's a little bit of everybody. You know what I mean? But there, it was just, just black folks and Hispanic, and it was just white. And I'm like, wow. And it was sad looking back on it because you had like so many different races that would go there. Like you had people from overseas. Yeah, like in our dorm when I moved over to the UP. With the University Plaza, it's something else now, but like you had like people from India, Pakistan, Africa, you know what I mean? And it would have been such a cool experience if because Texas Tech is really a good school, but it would have been such a good experience if we didn't have to go through that, because when I went to Lubbock, it was just like, instead of people, like if somebody go to UTSA, in San Antonio, you're like, man, you go to school? Yeah. And they say, what you study? And there they were like, man, you think you better? I'm like, where did this come from? So I just want to know your thoughts on that.
Now ask me one more time.
Well, basically, my thought was, what really shocked me about it is that it was two black gentlemen. I thought they were just playing around, I really did. And they said that they really could not rent this house that they wanted to rent to. And I think it was close to school. And they could not rent that place because black people live a certain place, white people live a certain place, and Hispanic people live a certain place. And they actually had like a map that said this. Like it was really like, how you look at a legal description and it say, west here, or line, whatever, so it was a piece of paper that actually said that.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, man, at the time I was like maybe 18, 19, probably not even 20. So, that's before I started doing real estate. I was studying for psychology at the time, so I didn't even know the magnitude of it until I looked back and was like, wow.
Man, I think, like I said, man, we got a long way to go as far as segregation and segregating certain things, man. The mindset. When people assume just because I'm black, I need to live around black people. Or I'm white, I don't want to be around these people. But that stereotype comes from us not listening to one another.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the hood, but, Denver Heights, when I lived in Florida, Tampa, Florida, I grew up in Maceo Park. And guess what? I'm an adult with a family now. I don't want to live in the hood. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And people assume because I'm black, I want to live around all black people or whatever. And the reality is that's a sad state. And even today, that probably still goes on in a lot of places.
Where is Denver Heights located in San Antonio?
Denver Heights is.
Denver Heights on the east side.
Yeah.
It's on the east side. Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
So, you know what? Matter of fact, that whole St. Gerard area and Pittman, that's all Denver Heights.
Right.
Okay.
Where they had the march.
Okay. Because I was unaware of that. Because I'm sorry. I had a gentleman come in one time, and again, I work mental health, so we see everybody from every side of town. He had Denver Heights tattooed across his chest. And I said, okay, it must be from Heights. And then I had people say, oh, I'm from East Terrace. So I knew about East Terrace, but I'm like, I never seen East Terrace. I heard about it, never seen it, but I've seen a lot of people from East Terrace.
Yeah, East Terrace used to be like private.
You probably seen these new East Terrace. Now, East Terrace has changed over the years. I promise you, man. My grandmother used to live there. So it's not the same East Terrace. It's just out where I grew up, that my grandmother lived.
Right.
But the east side of San Antonio, the east side of San Antonio, a lot of the black people have moved from there. Right,
yeah. But because they don't want to. I had a friend that his name was Sterling Brooks, and he said I remember he said something that really struck me when he went to school. He went to school in San Angelo also. He was going there to play football, but he ended up just going to school, period. And he said, it's funny how y'all live on the north. He's like, being from the northeast, where I said, yeah, I'm over by Converse, Jupton, all that area. He said, it's funny how we roll through there and we want to live over there because, like, man, it's such a nice area. We want to live over here. And then you got y'all live over here and you want to act like you're from the east side. He said, there's nothing to glorify about that. He said, we envy y'all because y'all live over in the northeast and we want to live there, and y'all want to glorify us like it's something to glorify living together.
Man, it wasn't no joke, man. The east side of San Antonio, man, especially in the 90s.
Oh, it was raw. Oh, completely raw.
I would say between 90 and 95. The gang activity in San Antonio during that time was ridiculous.
Right.
We had, at the time, I think it was 1991, 92, we had over 110 different gangs in San Antonio. 110. And that's from Crips to Bloods to Skinheads to Ultra Reals, whatever they all had, but 110. And it was back, and you know what, it was a bad season because everybody that was of color got profiled. I remember
the first news.
But when I went to St. George, I lived on the east side my freshman year. My parents moved out to Valley Forge on the towards the east side. My sophomore year, towards the end of my sophomore year. So I was catching the bus from the northeast side to St. George. But one of my stops was I had to catch the 17 at Windsor Park Mall.
Right.
I remember was that.
No, I was saying right.
Yeah, and I remember at Windsor Park Mall, the police would be standing in the where the bus stop used to be, and they were grabbing us off the bus, searching us.
Dang.
If you were black and a teenager, you were getting frisked when you got off that bus.
Well, see, man, I have good and bad experience with that east side. Like I really, so I live around Nolan, Evers, and basically what happened is my parents, they lived there, and then they moved into Lakeside. So I was around 3 or 4 when they moved, and what I always liked about that area was how close knit everybody was. So it was a lot of because back then, Lakeside was where the middle class African Americans moved to. Right.
You had a lot of African Americans, was it Lakeside, Eastwood, that was Delcrest area.
Delcrest, yeah.
Yeah, Delcrest. Back then, you had a lot of professional African Americans out there that people wanted to. If I remember growing up, I wanted to move to Lakeside or go out there.
Right.
But I think once the Alamo Dome was built,
right.
I think once the AT&T, when they started trying to build base, what they started moving people out of there, black people out of there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They started moving black people out of there, and when they started with this when HUD started, housing started off with these voucher programs that gave black people an opportunity to move in these areas on the northeast side and northern side of town. And Kirk, I think one of the first places that I ever heard people from the east side was Kirk.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, people started moving from the east side to Kirk first.
But
Well, I had a guy that used to tell me he was a patient. I said, man, where you from, man? He said, I'm Delcrest. It's on my back. It's on my back. he had Delcrest literally tattooed across his back.
Right.
And he said, I'm from Delcrest. It's on my back. I'm like,
but
you crack me up, man.
But man, what? Just want to say good and bad. So basically, I kind of grew up, like in Lakeside. And then my parents sent me to St. George because when I tried to go to East Central and Salado and Sinclair, like they noticed there was a lot of racism there. So, and then I had a speech impediment. And so when I was at St. Clair, they had wanted to put me in special ed. So I done graduated from college now, and I'm like, I'm not special ed, I do creative stuff, I ain't special, right? So I think I am sometimes though, but on a serious note, man, my mom believed in me, and that's how I got to go to Catholic school, a private school. But I remember I was living in an apartment, and my mother was just like, instead of you moving into a big apartment, why don't you move to the house? Because it was empty. And I said, okay, so I fixed it up, and a lot of people were like, man, you crazy for moving back on the east side. Why you didn't get an apartment? Why you get a big apartment? And I mean, like, I still live on the east side, man. And so I think I've been living in my house for about 15 years, man. And to me, it's awesome, man. Because,
Right, and I think some people, the east side's not bad.
Right.
There's some good people over there. Now, I will tell you this, and I'm glad you brought up St. Louis. I'm glad you brought up St. Louis. What a lot of people misunderstand about St. Louis, what a lot of people don't know, all they see is the Catholic or private school name on it.
right,
But St. Louis is as good as any other school on the east side. A lot of people don't know that.
right,
A lot of folks don't know that. A lot of folks think St. Louis was the perfect school that everybody went to. It was just as good as the other ones because a lot of times, most of the people that came to St. Louis were people that got kicked out of the public school system.
right.
You may have, that was one thing a lot of people misunderstood about St. Louis High School. That we were just this school sitting in the middle of the east side and we were just all prepping down, but I came from Fort Middle School. I remember St. Joseph Children's Home used to bring their kids, their foster care, they came to St. Louis.
Mm.
Because like all the riffraff came to St. Louis, all the proper Catholic people and all that, they went to St. Anthony, they went to Providence, or in Common Word, or in Tony. That's where the people that really had money went to those schools.
Right.
And but I used to love the East Side, man. I still love the East Side, man.
Man,
Did you have to pay to go to St. George?
Yeah. See, you paid, but when I was there, like, if you couldn't pay all of it, like, they had, like a work study program where you would have to clean up a room or something like that.
It was St. Louis was different than a lot of the other private. It was very different than a lot of the other private schools in San Antonio, man. It was very different. It was very, it wasn't that, like I said, it wasn't like West Bell Air private school, man.
Right.
We were probably the lowest private school in my opinion.
See,
we really didn't have a home there.
So y'all had a work study program out there?
Yeah, man. It was like, okay, like, let's say, for example, like, you play sports. And so, like, it was, I don't want to say his name, but it was like, so, like, let's say, like, we had a guy to play football, right? And he was a running back. And so, basically, what he would do is he would let the coach know, hey, man, I'm on work study. And so, he might miss a little bit of the
practice,
a video. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You would watch video before, and then, you go out to practice. So, basically, he might miss a little bit of it. And then, so you would tell the coach, and then it'd be like, he know, like, okay, you in work study. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was set up to where you would clean up a room. You know what I mean? So you clean up a room, let's say you clean up the 8th grade room, or Miss Orlando's room, or, whoever. And so you clean up that room, and then once you clean that room, they would let you go and, play sports or whatever, you know what I mean? Because they figured, okay, instead of paying somebody out to do that, they get the kids to do that, so it goes toward the tuition. But yeah, man, when we played like Antonian, we didn't play Central Catholic back then, but we played Antonian, Antonian got a bank. So
Antonian's got some. Antonian's a very expensive.
Yeah, so
that's a nice school.
Yeah, it's a legit school. And we played like Antonian, St. Anthony, but see, the Holy Cross was on the west side. So Holy Cross they kind of won games. You know what I mean? So then they kind of
Holy Cross is actually where just not to get off subject, Pastor, but you ever heard of a kid named Jordan Battle out here?
Yeah, we used to play against his. Well, I used to play against his dad. He was
really, Sean Battle.
Oh, he was nice.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was nice.
Running back?
Yeah, he was nice.
Pastor, you heard of him? Sean Battle?
Nah, man, it was after me. I graduated in 92.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently, I guess Darnell played against Sean Battle. His son, Jordan Battle, was playing out there at Brandeis. Well, and I guess this could be another whole other podcast, but just not so we don't get out too far off subject. He transferred to Judson, right? And he says, family first, because his dad worked out there at Amazon. Right. Okay. So did you hear that the UIL wasn't trying to allow him to play?
I seen something on Facebook. Somebody put something on Facebook about that.
Right. Okay. So it was him and LJ Butler, and I don't know what happened with Butler. And Butler looks a little more suspicious because he went to, he goes to Wagner. We're out of time. He went to Wagner, and it's like, why are you transferring to? But then last time I heard, his battle went out there to Holy Cross.
That's where it started. Though.
But then, man, that's that star stacking, man. But that's a whole other subject. But anyways,
well, to me,
we got something.
I don't know, man, how to feel about that, man.
This stars. That's a whole other subject, bro. I
feel like this.
We'll get on it later.
I'm gonna say that.
Cause do you remember Chauncey Campbell?
Well, I want to say this about that. When I seen that, I kind of I feel like they shouldn't do that kid like that. Where you mess up. I mean,
it's not his fault.
Yeah, but if what I'm saying is, if he lived in that district, shouldn't he be able to play in Jefferson?
Yeah, he should.
Okay.
I don't understand why.
So, but I felt I was happy and sad at the same time because I don't know if you go to Jefferson, you don't get more looks than that Holy Cross. But I felt it.
No, Holy Cross gets some looks.
Not like
Jefferson.
Not like Justin. Well, Justin get looks.
I felt it because he just trying to, move his kid to another school. But from him being Sean Battles and this kid being what he is, and I love the picture because I seen it on Facebook today. That was the move. That's what you had to do. You know what I mean? And I was just like, because his name in Holy Cross was like, they know who that is. So then you bring this dude. I don't see how no private school gonna beat that.
I don't know if Brandeis wasn't getting looks or if he just didn't like the school or what the deal was, but he moved to Judson, and then Judson, you always talking about we ain't trying to let him play. But
what I do know is Judson has a history of doing that.
A star stacking, yes, they do, very much so. Kyle Fox was in my class. Chauncey Campbell, year before me. I mean,
you look at Gerard Douglas.
Gerard Douglas. Yeah, well, I went to school with one of his nephew, but they all. But as far as I know, Fox, Campbell, and Douglas. I don't know, but for sure. But I know they lived in the district. I don't know about this. Battle. I don't know what the deal was, if his dad was driving him all the way out to Brandeis or what it was, but I know that Justin does have a history of star stacking.
Like I say, man, I haven't talked to Sean personally, and I he's my Facebook friend, but I don't talk to him like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people who do.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like I really didn't want to talk about it because I don't know about it.
Yeah.
But I just kind of feel like I felt that photo because I know what he was trying to do.
He's trying to get his son some looks.
But him being at that school, to me, it was just like they were real excited about that because it was kind of like destiny. You know what I mean?
So he went to Holy Cross?
Yeah, man, this dude was like
He was the dude.
He was the dude.
So he's kind of like Chris Pryor was at Judson.
Yeah, man. And when you bring that back, it's another position. It's like, you know what I mean? It's
right.
like for them, it's like this.
Pastor, were you around when Chris Pryor was running the rock?
Chris Pryor was before me, man. He was in the 80s, man.
Okay.
So when I went to school, the top running back in that era was Gerard Douglas.
Right.
But before Gerard Douglas, you had Kyle Arnell. You had Dominique Cameron out of Sam Houston.
Okay.
Wayne Coleman out of Brackenridge. Then by the time my senior year, you had Gerard Douglas. You had Anthony Holmes, Priest Holmes.
Priest Holmes, yes.
Yeah, Anthony Holmes. So he graduated in 92. You had Spencer Conley, people like Spencer Conley, James Harrell come out there. Wayne McGarry. Wayne McGarry went to Clark when I was in there. So man, there was so many running backs in the '90s, man. It was ridiculous. Like Justin used to have like Kyle Ardell, Rod Douglas, Chris Klein. Justin always had good running backs there. Madison always had some good running backs, man. And so I remember, that's who I played with. When I played at Central Wall, he played against Central Catholic, Central Catholic and Holy Cross, man, Antonian. If we used to play against Southside and our regular against South, we used to play a lot of 4A schools like Medina Valley, Southside. And,
Right.
But when I was in school, man, there's a lot. But Justin has always been powerhouse, man. Always been powerhouse.
Always. It's never gonna. I mean, that's why they were really against opening up Wagner High School and
Still.
and
Well, as a matter of fact,
well, not even Steele. The
it was Justin that Dallas Carter beat when they found out they had the number of players.
yeah, I know. I remember that because I was looking. I don't want to get off subject, but I'm a big I like to look at history a lot. And you remember Friday Night Lights, the movie Friday Night Lights?
Yeah.
Well, that movie was based off of that championship, and really it.
Hey, that was
Odessa didn't play on Justin.
No, they did not. What?
That team that was Dallas Carter.
Played Marshall there.
That's a semi-pro team.
Wait, say that one more time.
The team that played Dallas Carter.
That
was a semi-pro team.
When?
The people they use.
The semi-pro team.
Yeah, they was Dallas Warriors. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, we played against them, yeah.
Wow, okay. So yeah, I was actually watching the movie Carter. And it showed about how a bunch of the players from Dallas Carter, a bunch of them went to jail after all that. Yeah. So actually, an ex-girlfriend of mine, I ain't gonna say her names. I try and get sued, but she told me that the guy had got out of jail and he actually invited her. He moved back to Dallas and he invited her up to Dallas to see her. But we're actually out of time. So, are we throwing any salt today, bro?
You want to throw any salt, Pastor?
Man, I'm just going to say, man, I appreciate you guys, man, that you come on, man, and hang out with y'all, talk about race, talk about politics and how to get black people involved. I really hope, man, we can jump back into this at another time, jump into this conversation about, football, high school football, Texas. And I keep trying to tell these people in Virginia, man, Texas football is the best football ever. Ever. Yeah, I love, man. Yeah, thank y'all for inviting me, man.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it.
Let me ask you one more question, and we'll end it like this. I also want to show, Dominic Cameron. That was one of my semi-pro coaches, man.
Okay.
Well, Dominic Cameron, I think I was a freshman, but Dominic Cameron was a beast to Sam Houston, man.
I heard that.
That dude was a great beast, man.
Yeah. He played semi-pro, and then he coached us with the Malaysia Generals.
But I don't think Dominic got the credit that he deserved. Because he was followed behind Roger Hill.
Okay.
But Roger Hill was the running back before him. And Roger Hill ended up going to SMU. So then I think Dominic Cameron, then James Crumley. James Crumley was an 8-time back. I'm not sure if he was before Dominique or after him. You have to ask him that. Man, Sam used to have some bad running backs. And I'm saying, no band in the state of Texas unless you Sam used to band doing the first 6 weeks of the school year. Because after the first 6 weeks, everybody getting healthy. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, let's go on this note.
The first 6 weeks.
Let's go on this note. Okay, let's ask this question. The election. Who you voting for? No, let me say that. Now let me ask that. That's your personal business. But who is the best candidates that you think? How do you feel about the candidates and why?
Well, I'm going with Biden. I'm going to come out and say, And my vote is for a whole lot of reasons. Not necessarily because Donald Trump. Because one, you got to remember, man, I'm a 26-year veteran of the United States Army.
Okay.
And
thank you for your service.
And I feel that some things that Donald Trump has done is unbecoming of a commander-in-chief. The way he insulted veterans. Also, his treatment of women, with one of the biggest things we're trying to fix in the Army now is sexual assaults and sexual harassment. That's our black eye. I'm disappointed as the commander-in-chief that he hasn't mentioned or tried to address the situations, the issues that are happening at Fort Hood right now. And he's just, it's a whole, for me, it's more than him just being a racist, man. I'm just saying it from a totality, even as a veteran, I have issues with it.
I haven't really been following the election. I've been having so much going on as far as me going to school online and, dealing with just personal life in general. I just feel like we need to get Trump out of there because, and I tell everybody, I say, I don't really follow, like I said, I don't really follow politics all that much like we were talking about earlier, Pastor, before the show started. I don't really follow politics like that, but as far as Trump is concerned, he's not necessarily the greatest commander-in-chief or leader that we need in office right now. He's a good businessman, but as far as a leader is concerned, he doesn't take into account what we actually need him to talk about. So, people don't want to listen to the important stuff. They want to hear what they want to hear. And he gives everybody what they want to hear, not what they should be listening to. So hopefully Biden, and of course they come with smear campaigns and Biden does this, Biden does that, Trump does this, Trump does that. But most of the stuff that Trump has been doing, he's brought on himself. He's told over 220,000 lies. And as that, I think that I don't think I'm generalizing. My mom told me that they looked it up. He's told over 200,000 lies. Straight up lies. And they have them. Like, there's lies. Like, he's not, like, there's nothing true about it whatsoever. So, it's fair to say that Trump is a straight liar. And if it's two things I don't trust in life, it's liars and thieves. Don't lie to me, don't steal from me. And we're fine. But when you lie to me, steal from me, whether it's my time or it's something material, I'm not gonna appreciate it. So I'm probably more likely gonna be voting for Biden. Hopefully he doesn't lie and steal my time. But as far as Trump is concerned, he got to go.
I kind of feel like we kind of like in 2016 where you got two people I ain't really wild about.
Right.
But I vote for Biden, man.
It was Hillary in 2016, wasn't it?
Right. And
she almost won too.
Well, technically she didn't want the popular vote, but we're not gonna go there.
Yeah.
But I just feel like Trump, man, like to me, he created this level of hate in this nation to where it was easy for it to come out. And I don't think the president should be able to do that, man. It was too, I don't know, man. It just, they talk about Obama like a dog and his kids, they never got in trouble. He never cheated on his wife.
Never.
But let's talk about Obama. I even heard that Obama, I even heard that Obama's, I heard from people that Obama's wife was a man. Like, I really went into somebody's office and they said that. I said, how did she have 2 kids then?
Exactly.
And I'm like, and you look at Trump's wife and she don't even want to be around him. And she pose in Playboy?
Yeah.
Didn't he mess around with a porn star? But this dude, as Christians, can really say, well, that's the vote. I'm like, dude, he messed around with a porn star. And I'm not saying that a lot of men want it, but I'm just like, come on, man.
Let's look at facts.
Let's look at facts.
Let's look at facts.
And you know, it's just like I kind of feel like we in 2016. Where I'm not wild about neither one of them, but I'll go for Biden. So, anything y'all want to say to wrap up?
I just say this to wrap it up, Pastor. I really do appreciate you being on the show, like you said.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm glad you were. I'm glad that Darnell was able to run across you on Facebook. I wish more people would actually hold up to their part of the bar. That's why I'm throwing salt. Cause I'm throwing some salt right now because we have a lot of people that say, "Oh, we want to be on the show. We want to be on the show." And then as soon as it comes down to it, ain't nobody. It's crickets. You know, you don't hear nothing. You, on the other hand, came up, say, "Hey man, we still doing this?" Like, yeah, man, we just running a little late, and you still came through. So,
whenever y'all want to talk about wrestling, man, make sure y'all know.
Oh, of course.
Hey.
You might gonna have more than I got to say about this.
Hey man, we gonna do wrestling, man. I got my cousin Josh, man. He's like a wrestling fanatic. I got some other people, man. And you know what, man? He's evolution, man. Is better than forward. We're gonna leave that alone.
I was watching AEW.
The devil is a lie.
I was watching I'm gonna end it with this. I was watching AEW the other day. Y'all remember Dusty Rhodes?
Dusty Rhodes was a dog, man.
Oh, and Dusty Rhodes still a dog, but
He did, though.
No?
Dusty Rhodes did.
Well, his son is fighting them.
Yeah, his son.
His son. Okay, his son. But
Yeah, his son.
Either way, Dusty Rhodes was a dog, you know, and everybody know this. I'm a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan personally.
Right,
you know,
right.
Stone Cold said so. Don't detail. Don't trust anybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, I laugh at you and stun you and walk away. You know?
Right.
Hit you with a stun and walk away. But I was watching AEW the other day, and I was on the phone. And I said, you know, I'm watching wrestling right now. And it's so disappointing. And she said, what you mean? I said, it's so fake. I was like, it was so fake. I couldn't watch it. Like, it was just...
You know, the thing about it is it's not fake enough.
It was just...
Okay,
it was terrible how fake it was.
But this is what I'm saying. See, then they ain't got a crowd.
At least when we watched it.
But see, then they ain't got a crowd.
That too.
And so, but see, you had people like Flair. And,
Woo!
you know, you had Flair, and then you had Macho Man, you had Hogan, you had Dusty Rhodes, you had Piper. And they all had a personality. Now people don't have no personality.
And I'm going to end with this.
Yeah.
Back then, the writers and the promoters were off the chain.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, like, for example, you got people like Stephanie and what's the first name? The man write storylines, right?
The Triple H write storyline?
But back then, you know who was one of the best storyline and promoters? Was Dusty Rhodes, Virgil Rhodes.
Right.
So that's what, I don't know if you heard, that's what the term Dusty Finish, I know I got to go, Dusty Finish. The reason the term Dusty Finish, you remember when you watch a championship match and the referee gets knocked out?
Right.
And the bad guy, well, that was called, that term is called a Dusty Finish. Dusty Rhodes came up with that.
Right.
So there was a lot of promoters back then, like Fritz Von Erich, Jerry Lawler back in the 80s. Before, what happened is when Vince McMahon bought WWF from his dad, him, and then even Eric Bischoff, their storyline and story creation became garbage. Because what happened is they had actual wrestlers create storylines.
All right. So in October, man, you want to come back for a wrestling show?
Man, let's do that, man. Call, let me know when.
Yeah, we'll keep you in the post and everything. October time, we're gonna let you know. And
Cause he hating on Evolution.
I don't really know about Evolution or any of that, but you know, that's probably before my time.
No, Evolution was like. When did Evolution come out? I remember
DX.
Yeah, they came on after that. They came on after that. Like, they came on like...
It was in the 2000s. It was 2010.
Yeah.
I stopped watching by then. I kind of lost interest, and yeah.
Hey, the girls that got on there will put you back on, man.
I definitely did that. I definitely did that.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, man. That's a bet, man. So just a quick FYI out there to all the fans out there watching this show. I have been doing jiu-jitsu as an extracurricular activity for a little while. I have a tournament coming up October 10th. So if you happen to be in San Antonio area, you want to come to Mission Concepcion, Ben Newsom, white belt. I'm fighting with the old guys. So come out there and support. I'm sure we'll have a show about jiu-jitsu, whether I lose or win, which we don't call it losing, we call it learning. If you lose, you learn from your loss, and if you win, of course, you learn again. So
in football, I done learned a lot.
So
I done won some too.
So we got some exciting shows coming up. Hopefully, that'll be one of the shows. Pastor, we're gonna see you back in October for the wrestling show. What's the next show, Jordan?
We gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it, but it's we'll talk about it.
So we don't have another show for you yet, but we will be coming with another show. This is what, the 5th episode?
Yeah, this is the 5th episode.
We're on our 5th episode, so we're rolling right along. Y'all stay with us. Subscribe to the page.
We can do gentrification.
Okay, we'll probably talk about gentrification, possibly. Now it's not a for sure. Possibly we'll talk about gentrification. I don't really know much about it, but we'll figure it out. So, subscribe to the page. Leave your comments. If you leave negative comments, we're gonna delete it. So leave positive comments. Positive vibes only. Right, Pastor?
Yes, sir.
Positive vibes only. Positive vibes only. Emphasis on positive. Leave comments. Subscribe to the page. Look at our shows. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next week.
Man, it's a journey with Man. This has been the awesome Newsom, and thank you so much, Pastor, for coming on. And still, evolution is better than a horse.
Yeah, we're gonna have to conversation about that. I can't wait. All right, man. Y'all be blessed, man.
All right,
man.
take it easy.
Thank y'all for joining in.
All right, have a good night.